Ah, see? See? There we go. Ah, wait. We already screwed that up. Let's leave it on. Let them see behind the scenes. Well, there it is.
Here we are.
Here we were. Oh, we forgot our title card. Oh, my gosh. That's okay. Because you already know what this is. You didn't need to see the title. This is 5 minutes with Robert and Amy, Nasir, and you. And we are glad you have joined us on this fine Sunday, June 22nd. 22nd of June. That means the month has still got over a week left. We're doing the OCON countdown. Most of you probably know what that is. The Objectivist Conference, the annual Objectivist Conference in Boston. But we're not flying out until Monday, and that means there may be one more episode of this show before then. Then we get into an interesting schedule. And interesting is the right word. We're not necessarily going to skip shows, but they might be different. But this weekend, oh my gosh, this weekend was a busy weekend.
Woo!
We went to war. Well, we didn't go to war, but the country that we're in. Okay, it didn't really go to war. For example, war wasn't declared. We're going to talk about that when we get to Robert and Amy Analyze the News, that segment of the program. But thank you for joining us. I see we've got some of our friends in the chat. Thank you for being here. Heat wave. An absolute heat wave in the upper Midwest. I don't know how y'all are doing around the country. I've seen headlines about all over the country heat waves. But as you know, if you've been following us on social media or here on 5 Minutes with Robert and Amy Nasir, yesterday was Robert's 9th annual rock and roll picnic. Well, that's a picnic, so that's an outdoor event. 95 degrees and we're out there playing rock and roll. Some pictures have been posted online. I will post video once I have a chance to go through what the little digital camera cooked up for us. It was a good time. I want to thank everybody, and some of you, including some people in the chat right now, were at that event, and we appreciate you being there. It would not have been a party without y'all.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you, Greg, for all the bread that you brought and the pie. And,
yes.
It was so good.
I do have some pictures from around the pavilion, but I don't have those ready yet. So yeah, y'all might end up in the pictures. For now, just for anybody wondering, here's one picture. I got two pictures here. There is one, so there you get to see the two of the megastars of the day. Mark, you see on keyboards there, and there's a stand kind of in this way, but Matt on the drums. MVPs, absolute MVPs. There is so much gear involved in throwing this event together. Doesn't all show in the picture there. We use 15-inch mains, 10-inch monitors, a big Behringer 6000, it's a 1600-watt PA system, two guitar amplifiers, bass guitar amp, all this stuff. And these guys, Matt and Mark, saved me from death. Definitely from death. Heart attack or just fatal cramps.
Well, you didn't even eat anything yesterday.
And we threw a picnic, and so of course we had food. There were burgers, there was bratwurst, there were hot dogs, there were all sorts of fixings and cold things and other things, and I never got around to eating anything.
No.
I had a banana toward the end of the event.
You had most of an orange popsicle, which I told you to eat.
That's right. You brought me an orange popsicle as I was sweating up a storm on the grill.
What's the next photo? Is there another photo?
There is one other photo. So this was the rock and roll part of the event. If you get a chance to attend one of these, you may have to wait till next year, but we might do a second one later this summer. Yeah, if you can play an instrument, but you didn't bring one, just come up and play ours. There was rock and roll, but also, what's the other picture I got from the early returns here? Oh, here we go. How do you like that? Yes, there is the karaoke part of the event.
Oh, that's a good picture.
There were parts of the event where there was not live music. It was karaoke and just as much fun. In fact, if you're karaokeing, you can do things you couldn't do with a live band. So, no end of fun. It was cool. Anyway, huge shout out to anybody who attended, was involved in any way, helped with the preparations, the planning. It was too hot for some people. I see Jennifer's posting the hot face there in the chat. I know, Jennifer, it was too hot for you and Mina. And that's a shaggy dog story there. So
too hot for Mina.
Totally understandable. Although I've got to say, you were missed, and we hope that we get to see you soon.
Yes.
Incidentally, quick show today. Doesn't he always say that? I promise you that this one will be less than an hour.
Yes.
These 5 minutes will take less than an hour. And the reason for that is, the whole world is playing that game that people used to play, Where's Yaron?
Yeah.
Well, it used to be Where's Waldo, but Yaron Brook has been MIA, missing in action for a few days. I should not use military abbreviations or acronyms right now, but he has been missing in action. And he just announced he's going to be doing a show at 7 o'clock Eastern. So when we do wrap up in less than an hour, maybe we'll only go half an hour, who knows. But we'll see about that. Picnic, great fun. Why am I dressed in a black felt hat? Well, some of you know this is my flamenco hat.
Yeah.
So when I drum flamenco, well, not drums, a box drum, a cajon for flamenco, this is the hat I wear. Amy, you once again were a dancer today.
I am, as a matter of fact, I am a dancer. So we danced 2 Bullerius dances, each with different music, given to us by Steven, the guitarist, and Robert, the cajon player. That happens to be you.
Now, Amy's been doing this for years. I just joined this year, so I'm the total amateur. Amy, you are the dancer, though.
Yeah, we did a good job, and it was difficult because the room that we were dancing in it must have been 95 degrees in there. There was no air conditioning, and it was 7.5 minutes of wow, so much heat, and also the floor had like this rubberized flooring on it, so not easy to spin around in when you have flamenco shoes on.
And nobody could tell. You did a great job.
Oh, thank you.
You looked beautiful as always.
No one fell over.
Nobody fell over. It wasn't as hot as it was at the picnic, but then we weren't dancing at the picnic, whereas you were dancing up a storm.
So even though the picnic or today?
Today. So I'm guessing that even though I didn't feel hot at all on the cajon, you probably did feel hot out on the dance floor.
Yeah, we were all very, very warm, and it got to the point where it was the humidity.
They didn't sweat, though. They did not sweat. They glistened. That's all. They glistened. Isn't that the right word?
Sparkled.
There's some word for that. Women don't sweat.
It was a wonderful performance. And it was very exciting because Steve actually created our flamenco guitarist, Steve, created an actual sort of he created a piece of music for our second Bullerius part.
Yes, if you know flamenco, there are standard styles. Basically, there's only 7 songs in flamenco. But there are 1,000 songs in flamenco because everything is turned into variations and it's all made more interesting. And yes, Steve did one specially for you for this second Bullerius.
Yeah.
It was very nice. Jennifer says 95. Actually, it was 97, 98 on the way back. We went to stop for ice cream, but the lines are too long at our favorite ice cream stand.
We just came home.
So we came home. And Friday night, we did go to a play. Mark and Kayla, if you're listening, thank you for that. And it was an interesting play, not our usual thing, but they did. Actors and actresses did an outstanding job. So it's been a very, very busy weekend.
Yeah, stopping.
And no stopping.
No rest for the virtuous.
So when I tell you all, the answer is always yes, one of Robert's rules of life. If you have an opportunity, always say yes. If you get a chance to do something, always say yes. Just whatever it is, always say yes, unless, if somebody is inviting you into obvious self-destruction. But that's, even that might be interesting too, and life should be interesting. But yes, this is a weekend of saying yes, we're going to throw the rock and roll picnic. We're going to use the big rig, the big PA system, not the small one. I'll think twice about that one next year. We're going to do Flamenco Exhibition. We're going to go to the play. We're going to do all the things. And that's why we're 10 minutes in, and I still haven't even gotten to the basics because too much happening, but we will. As always, tie it all together for you, and yes, tie it all to your comments in the chat as well. Real quick, Sunday, June 22nd, it is the 173rd day of the year, so we're well past winter and spring. We are now officially into summer, 2 days into summer. Unless you're south of the equator, you're 2 days into winter, and that's cool. Literally cool, but I don't know, does it get really, really bad winters in South America? Africa, Australia. I don't know. I don't know what winters are like down under. So if any of y'all are down there, let us know. Christmas is in 186 days. Thanksgiving, November 27th, and 158 days. But then, isn't every day Thanksgiving? Don't you give thanks every day? Don't you just wake up and say, God, what a life. I am so grateful. And, to ourselves, first of all, but to everything around us, too. Halloween is in 131 days. I know one or two people who are into that.
Yes.
And we're 2 days into summer or winter, depending on where you are.
It's going to be fall tomorrow, so don't worry.
And I am not the only one to point out. It's been on the socials, social media out there, the internet. Is there anything on the internet besides social media anymore? It's National Kissing Day.
Ooh!
Happy National Kissing Day, you good people. Now, some of you, assuming you have a kissing partner in your life, are already doing that. Why would you need a special day for it? Some of you may not have a partner for kissing, but if you have parents, if you have children, kissing doesn't have to be all sexy kissing. No, if you have friends, well, if you're in Europe, they don't even just kiss each other on the cheek. They kiss on the lips as a greeting.
Well, some of them
so weird. I don't know. Is that still a thing, or have they become acclimatized to our stolid and staid American ways?
They kiss like this. They're like, They don't use their lips.
Lord, I hope not. I hope nobody does that. But it is National Kissing. Here, we'll engage a little bit here. I'm going to put up my there we go. Okay, yeah. So you got to see that. I only do that because somebody, who you are, asked. So it is National Kissing Day again. Kiss them if you got them. Doesn't have to be romance if that's not in the cards right now. Parents, children, pets. Have you seen pictures of Mark Pellegrino and his dog? There's a love story right there. Super sweet. So, happy National Kissing Day. It's also Be Kinder Day. I thought, Be Kinder Day.
That's nice. That's a good thing.
I like that idea. Half of the problems in the world would be helped if people could just be civil, be gracious.
Yes.
Be civil, be generous, be cool.
Assume the best, like the best intent, or assume positive intent. Don't, jump down people's throats because you're having a bad day or because of politics or whatever it may be. Actually engage with people like they're human beings. That would be nice. Especially on social media. That would be great.
Even Bill and Ted understood. Be excellent to each other.
That's right.
That's so stupid and so wonderful. It's not stupid at all. So I am all about that. Just refreshing my chats here. I got to get caught up. So I'm going to go through these real quick. I'm not going to do a lot of on this date because, again, we're going really fast today, and the point we need to make does not require that much information. It's also happy, and there is a whole holiday and website for this. It's all in the show notes. Positive Media Day.
Ooh, excellent.
There's actually a day in which we say, hey, think twice about the media you're consuming. There's so much good stuff going on out there. Are you bringing it in? Are you taking it in? Are you frequenting sites that will share with you the good stuff going on as well as, the stuff we'll get to in a minute? So it is Positive Media Day. Feel free to hit up some of those websites that can do that. I have shared them on my Substack in the 2 optimism-oriented posts that I did out there. And you should be hitting those up too.
Whenever I think of positive news, I think of Harry Potter and the story of Bungie, who was a budgerigar who lived in Barnsley, and he was featured on a television news segment that it was the budgerigar. I'm assuming that's a bird. Yeah, it's a bird who learned how to water ski. So it's the positive news story that they always have at the end of a local news show, and so this was a water skiing budgerigar. Positive news, folks.
Yes. I'm just catching up on the chat here. Jim says, Robert and Amy, I would have been there. Wish I could have been there. We wish you had been there too. We wish everybody had been there. come to Southeast Michigan the next time we announce one of these.
Yeah. Oh, hello to Linda Cordair. We're gonna see you in a week. We're gonna see you in a week.
Damn right.
And it shall be glorious.
Jim does say it would have been 1,000% better than Robert's attempted burlesque show. You had the opportunity. It wasn't me. It was Amy. You were the burlesque performer this time.
Was I?
Because there was a splash. Well, you were in a bathing suit. I guess that's. There are burlesque shows that aren't much more scantily clad than a bathing suit.
At a splash pad with a million children all around.
Fortunately, the park we went to, given this hot day, did have a splash pad right across the sidewalk from where we were performing. But yeah, it was very crowded.
Yes.
There were approximately 10 million kids there.
It was so good.
Or something like that.
There were so many magical moments, even though it was really hot. But at one point...
This magic moment. What were the most magical moments?
Well, I offered the microphone to a lady who we didn't know.
Yeah, a passerby who was obviously interested in what we were doing.
We were singing Whitney Houston's... originally Dolly Parton, but it's the Whitney Houston version of "I Will Always Love You," and we started into it and everything. Me and my friend Eva, who is also a flamenco dancer.
And this family comes by, and you could see this woman was really into what you were doing.
I could see her mouth going. I'm like, "Hey, you come up here!"
And she's like, "No.
Me?
No.
I'm like, yeah, you come on up here and
you
sing.
got her up there.
Yes, it was beautiful, and her name was Sherry. And she was lovely, and it was wonderful.
Super sweet. Too cool. Just catching up here. Greg says, is the cajon the same fingering as either a bass or standard 6-string? Well, given that it's a drum, it's not quite the same fingering. But it's a good question, and I don't know if I knew what a cajon was 10 years ago, so that's why I often say it's a box drum. It looks like a wooden box with a hole in it.
Yes.
Sounds better than a wooden box with a hole in it.
It's like you're sitting on a box and you're just tapping, with it with your hands.
Yeah, and inside there, up in the corners, are a couple of steel snares like on a snare drum. So depending on where you hit it, you can get more of a bass drum sound, more of a snare sound, or more of a wood block sound.
Yes.
Very cool.
They're not cajones. Unless you want it to be.
Well, you're going to say I don't have cojones? I have a cajon. I guess that's good enough. Kiss your puppy's head. Paul is giving thanks for air conditioning. I'm surprised that our air conditioning in the studio is keeping up, but it is. It's chilly in here.
Yeah.
And it's 97 degrees out. Crazy.
Yeah. Ian had asked if we're going to be in OCON's Got Talent. No.
We are not.
No, we're not.
No.
We did not enter, and we're not going to do it. And nope.
Next time. We'll do it next time, but I just didn't feel up for it this year.
No. It's just too much going on. We're just going to have a rest. Are you, Ian? Let us know if you're going to be in the talent show. I know I think I just got a gentleman named Gerard, I believe, on the OCON page.
Yeah.
Asked if we were going to be dancing, because that's referencing I won 3rd place in the OCON Got Talent a few years ago. Robert on guitar doing flamenco music and me dancing flamenco, and we were really good. So
you were good. Music was okay, but you were really good. Anyway,
you were quite good.
False modesty aside, we were amazing. Well, 3rd place is pretty good in a contest with 18 people. Yeah. So
hey, guess what? We won.
Another
OPAR.
Another copy. Every time we win a contest at one of these, we get another copy of OPAR. Objectivism, the philosophy of Ayn Rand.
Which is lovely, but we already own several copies.
We have so many copies of that. But it is a worthy prize for any contest. So, yes, absolutely. Ian says, not me. The talent level has gone way up. Last year was nuts.
Yeah.
That's interesting because, it seemed like we had reached a level where I didn't belong on stage with some of that talent. I guess the last time I performed, Ligea Rose won for her the Hedgehog Waltz that she performed.
Amazing.
And I had heard the show. We missed one. We missed a year. And I heard that one was
Anaheim.
A little more realistic levels of talent for most of us. But you're right. Some of the stuff out there is so good. And, again, no false humility, but I just feel like I don't belong on stage with some of these people. It's kind of like, me, a garage band classic rock guy, goes up on stage with an orchestra. It's just, there's nothing for me to do up there. So, yeah, absolutely get that. I probably will bring a guitar. I can't imagine traveling without a guitar. Unless there's unless there's somewhere there I can buy a used one and to use for a week and then give it away.
Which we've done before.
Which we've done more than once.
Well, hi, Matthew in the audience.
Oh, yeah. Matthew is in the audience this time, as he usually is. He actually won the guitar in London that I bought, head shipped to our London hotel, played for a week, and then gave it away. Because why not?
Why not? It's
more fun than, packing it or checking it and paying the luggage fees. It doesn't cost that much more. So... Good stuff. How many different languages Opar printed in? That's a good question. We'll see if Ian has an answer to that. So, seems like kind of common denominators. National Kissing Day, Be Kinder Day, which incidentally is not about being kinder, or rather it is about being kinder, but it was originally named after a young girl, 10-year-old girl named Bee. What was her first name? And her last name was Kinder.
Oh.
And unfortunately, she had an accident, and it wasn't that somebody was mean to her or anything like that. She fell off a horse and got trampled, and she did not survive. But, her parents decided to start a foundation in her name, and they did make it about being kinder, about positivity, and, helping people get through bullying and things like that, and encouraging people to be good to each other. Anyway, link is in the show notes. Happy Positive Media Day, as I said. It's also National Onion Ring Day. You had onion rings the other day.
Yes.
One of my favorite things, if you ever want to know my favorite foods, is a French dip sandwich with onion rings.
Oh, and you can dip the onion rings into the au jus.
Yeah.
It's so good.
Onion rings dipped into a beef au jus. That's pretty hard to beat.
Yes.
Some birthdays today, real quick, that we want to celebrate. It's Elizabeth Warren's birthday.
Oh.
No, we don't want to celebrate Elizabeth Warren's birthday.
I guess she had a mother who loved her.
I'm sure she did. And even kids and things. So, no, I don't know why that popped up. You look up birthdays and the important ones, are in big, bold letters. And I'll hold off on that one for a minute. It's also Todd Rundgren's birthday.
Oh my God! Wow.
And one of my themes, what I want to cover real quick, is sometimes, I think we've said this before, sometimes your heroes and villains are the same person.
Yeah, they can be mixed.
What the hell? Yeah, people can be mixed, and more than mixed, they can be complicated, compartmentalized, really good at or in some ways, and bad in others.
Yeah.
I don't know if Elizabeth Warren's any good in anything, but Todd Rundgren is one of the great rockers.
Yes.
Not just a great guitarist, but a great singer. Not just a great singer, but a great songwriter. Not just a great songwriter, but a great producer of other bands.
Yes.
He produced Badfinger, for example, who had some of my favorite songs. Great guy all around until you get into his politics.
Yes. Yeah, I'll say that he is... He doesn't have a lot of tact when it comes to politics, I'll just say.
Now, I would guess right about at this point in history, he and I might agree on politics, or at least on specific political figures that are in the limelight. But either way, I want to say happy birthday to Todd Rundgren. Favorite Todd Rundgren album is probably Something Anything, a double album or double CD. And... yeah, Todd turned 76 years old today, which seems really, really old, but not really. Rock and rollers turn 76 and they still go out and perform. I mean, the Rolling Stones are out there and they're like, 120 or something? So, a little bit younger than that, it's Bruce Campbell's birthday.
Oh, really?
And Bruce Campbell turns 67 today, and he's
nice.
Still out there doing his thing.
Yeah, we watched on our last Glow meeting, I forced everybody to watch an interview with William Shatner, and he was describing, or he was looking or seeing these impressions that people have done of him, like Jim Carrey and Jason Alexander and all these different people who did impressions, Bruce Campbell came up and he did his impression of William Shatner. And William Shatner actually appreciated Bruce Campbell, and he's like, Bruce Campbell, he is an actor.
Which was part of the shtick. You should watch this clip if you can find it.
Yeah,
because
nice.
I would say he watched all of these, Jim Carrey, and I don't even know Jim Belushi, and maybe they were all named Jim, but no, one was obviously named Bruce.
Jim.
What was strange about this clip is that Shatner is acting like Shatner. And you never know if Shatner is really being Shatner or if he's just acting like Shatner. But I would say when he judged them, he judged most harshly, most critically, the best of the impersonations. And the ones that he said, no, that's pretty good, really weren't very good. So I don't know if that was part of the shtick or if that really is just Shatner's weird.
I think he was being completely truthful.
It seemed like it.
Well, I gotta say,
you never know.
We're big Bruce Campbell fans.
Yeah.
We actually met him briefly.
And we are Will Shatner fans, too. William Shatner's pretty cool, too. But
yeah, you met William Shatner. You and Jennifer did.
That's true. Jennifer and I did meet him.
Yep.
And it was one of these things where they rush you through a photo op at a convention, but they didn't rush us. They were kind of cool, and he was kind of cool, and it was actually neat to meet him in person.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah.
That's great.
It's good when they do a photo op and they don't rush you through, like they actually care enough that you only get 30 seconds, but they give you a minute and a half. Extreme generosity like that. No, it was cool.
Yeah, Jennifer says, I don't know what you are talking about.
No. Yeah. He's very careful in how he parses his words. Yes.
Anyway.
Good stuff. Happy birthday, though, to Bruce Campbell.
Yeah.
Not William Shatner. We'll get there at some point, too. And then just one more birthday. Happy birthday to the girl who just wants to have fun. Actually wants to do a whole lot more than that, and she's pretty damn awesome, Cyndi Lauper. Yeah,
Cyndi Lauper. She was a friend when I was friendless. I mean, when I was an adolescent, it was challenging times, and I felt like she was sort of my mirror friend, as Anne Shirley and Anne of Green Gables would have talked about with Cordelia.
Yeah.
And yeah, Cyndi Lauper was great. She's so good, and she's such a good person, and I just can't say enough good things about her. Yep. Yes.
And that's it for On This Date. Hey, and it's not 7 o'clock yet, or whatever the top of the hour would be where you are at. And that means Yarn Brook is not on yet, and that means we can talk about one or two more things. And I have a theme. I want to tie this all together. Under shameless self-promotion, or what are we listening to this week? All I entered was our own Optimism playlist. That goes back to 2022. Great episodes of this show and other shows to give you optimism if you're not already feeling it. And choosing happiness, a prerequisite to achieving it, which is an episode of Life on Earth that we did, or that I did, actually. There's one we did coming up. Why? Why do I want to get to that? Well, a new feature of 5 Minutes with Robert and Amy Nasir, a new feature that we inaugurated just a few episodes ago, our news analysis. Why did we do a news analysis? Do you remember why we did a news analysis? Why did we start doing that?
Oh, because we protested.
Well, we did, but that was actually after we started doing the news analyses.
Okay, tell me.
It was because Yarn Brook was traveling and he wasn't doing it.
Oh,
Yarn Brook nowadays, the CEO of the Ayn Rand Institute, the best spokesman out there for the ideas of Ayn Rand, has been doing news shows, and he tries to do one every day. And it's kind of like Rush Limbaugh used to say, I'll read the news for you and tell you what to think. And he does that, and it's very cool. But then he's also a globetrotter, a world traveler. He lectures around the world, and he has all these things he's involved in. And he does work with the Peterson Academy, and it's probably where he was this week. He goes down to Florida and holds classes that are recorded, all these things. So sometimes somebody else has got to step in there and tell you what to think about the news. And I think that we are uniquely suited for that. I don't know if we're well suited for it, but whatever we are, it is unique. We are uniquely suited for that position. Well, what's the big news right now?
Budgerigars, water skiing.
Well, as Bugs Bunny would say, of course you realize this means war.
Yes.
All right.
Yeah, you know.
Somebody has decided to you dropped a bomb on me, baby. Somebody's decided to drop bombs. It can't be a war because war has not been declared.
It wasn't the U.S. Congress.
No. Now.
Oh, God. You know, you should all know, we all know, if you don't know, then you should know that at first, the U.S. Congress had the power to declare war. It wasn't until they gave their say-so and signed all the documentation and checked with everybody else and made sure our military was on board, make sure everyone's good. And then they said, we declare war. And it was a declaration, and it really actually meant something.
And this was reaffirmed in 1973 with the War Powers Act, or the War Powers Resolution. Both of those are names for that act. And they laid down how this is going to work. There are three things three cases in which the president can properly act, take military action, can go to war. None of those have been met in the recent conflict.
Right.
Now, here's the thing. I hate saying here's the thing because that's been overdone.
That said.
That's sad. Oh, that's the worst. Well, actually, that's not the worst. I think maybe it goes without saying. Have you ever noticed it? It never goes without saying. Right. As soon as somebody says it goes without saying, they say it. Anyway, World War II was a war. Mm-hmm. The Korean War, not a war. The Vietnam War, not a war. Why are these not wars? Because Congress never declared war, and there was no threat, no imminent danger to the United States, because if there is, the president can act even without the Congress. No bueno, none of the above. So the Iraq War. How about the war in Afghanistan? None of those are wars. They don't count. Well, obviously.
What about the war on drugs?
Well,
oh, wait a minute.
Too.
What about the war on terror?
Well, now you're changing the subject. Let me get back to it.
Yes.
The point is that all of these wars since World War II, none of them met the standard.
Yeah.
And when the War Powers Resolution was passed in 1973, presumably to clarify, to make sure that what happened in Korea, what happened in Vietnam wouldn't happen again, no, we still kept screwing it up. So, supporters of the current president, who you'll notice whose name I have not said yet during the show, I'm intentionally keeping this non-contentious because there are people whose support for the president trumps any common sense. So, I'm not going to say his name. He's not doing anything different than Obama did. He's not doing anything different than Bush did. He's not doing anything different than Johnson did. He's not doing anything different than any of the presidents since World War II, the last actual war, did. Now, that said, here's my question. Well, does that make it right? Does that make it ideal? Should we be moving in the direction of actually applying the War Powers Act, the War Powers Resolution? And either way, these days, who cares if it's in the Constitution or who cares if it's in accordance with the War Powers Act? Either way, is the current dropping of bombs on Iran the right thing to do? I have read good arguments in favor and arguments against. And this is one of those cases where I got to admit, I don't have any better idea than that. Yeah. How to stop nuclear proliferation from reaching arguably the most dangerous, worst theocracy in the world. So I would say I'm cool with that, except for one little thing.
What's the one little thing?
I don't think it has any credibility given the guy who's doing it and the reason that he's giving.
Yeah.
So, if you agree with me, you're right. How's that for a conclusion? Is that perfectly clear?
Perfect. Yeah, no. This is like stumbling into something good.
Imagine,
but you're stumbling, and the person's going to keep stumbling and stumble even harder the next time.
Imagine,
who knows what's going to stumble next?
Imagine if we had a president of the United States who could come on and say not just, "I'm so great, I did this thing," but could actually, for example, cite Ayn Rand and her discussion on the roots of war.
Oof.
Who would actually say not just, these people are crazy and they're dangerous and I had to do something, but could integrate into that the cause of war is statism and irrationality, that capitalism brings peace, that the so-called economic motives for war are a myth, that to act otherwise is a moral sanction of the victim, and that the way to achieve peace is through freedom, and that means through free markets, through capitalism. I don't think Tariff Man is capable of saying any of those things.
Tariff Man comes to save the day.
Yes. So, what you should think about current events is we certainly do need somebody to stop Iran from achieving a nuclear weapon. But that's like the beginning of the conversation or the middle of the conversation. And so, do I have trepidation about this? Am I nervous about this? Do I worry about this? Do I think this may be bad? Yeah, I do. If you agree, that's okay. And yet at the same time, given there's a war, gee, I hope we win. I hope that regime that runs that country, that stops, especially the women in that country, but the men too, from being free, is ousted from power and something better, no, not ideal, but something better comes along.
What I'll say is this, that there's a better chance, I'll say, I'm not going to quantitate it here, it's not quantified here, but there's a better...
I like that.
There's a better chance that the people of Iran are better suited to find an alternative to their current regime than, say, the people of Afghanistan. People in Iran, a lot of them they remember how it used to be in the 1970s, when women could, or the 1960s, and women basically wore mini skirts and beehive hairdos, and men went around, looking like the latest, catalog fashions of the disco era. I mean, that's what they looked like until the Islamic Revolution and the forcing upon the people from the morality police. I'll just say, the horrible, brutal, medievally, heinous acts that the Iranian regime has perpetrated against their people. So I'm hoping that they won't turn out to be like another Afghanistan. And I'm hoping that we won't go into a full-fledged war at this stage. I don't know. I don't exactly know what to think or exactly what to predict. So it's going to be really interesting to hear Yaron Brook at 7 o'clock when he gets on.
21 minutes.
Yeah,
Yikes.
Yeah, 21 minutes.
Well, that's okay, because I can sum up everything I've said, and I do want to mention a couple things in the chat. Linda Cordair of Quint Cordair Fine Art, CORDAIR.com, says Cyndi Lauper's blues are amazing. After her pop songs period, she did go on to do more serious music, and yeah, she's really, really good. Thank you for that, Linda.
Yeah.
Jim Ashley says, did Todd Rundgren create Badfinger? No, Joey Moland and... forget his partner's name, but no, he just produced one of their big albums, And he says, Badfinger, as you probably remember, performed the song Come and Get It, which was written for the 1969 movie The Magic Christian. Yes, that's true. Badfinger, of course, were involved with the Beatles. They got their start with them, and Come and Get It, which was written by Paul McCartney. Featured in the movie, and yes, Ringo Starr, of course, was in that film, along with the other folks you mentioned, Peter Sellers, Raquel Welch, John Cleese, etc. Absolutely. In fact, I don't think I posted it publicly. It was one of the music groups, but a medley of me playing and singing Badfinger songs, and Come and Get It was what I ended it with. My 5 favorite Badfinger songs, which were No Matter What, Day After Day, Baby Blue, which some people only know from the series Breaking Bad, and then the last song, besides Come and Get It, was Without You, which I mentioned last week.
Yes.
Because that was actually not written by Joey Moland. It was written by Harry Nilsson. So that's a great medley to do. I should have done that at the picnic. Except that I couldn't be a show hog, because there were just too many people who wanted to play and sing and do things. But thank you for mentioning that. Yes. And Helen Flaster's in the chat and says, well, this is about me thinking maybe I could just buy an instrument there, like a used instrument. She says, there are many Robert and Amy wannabes throughout the music and other higher educational institutions in Boston. If it is difficult to buy or rent a guitar there, I would not be very surprised.
Yeah, I would be very
actually, she says, if it was difficult to buy or rent a guitar there, I would be very surprised. Yes. So she's saying that given the demand, there's probably availability too. Good.
I'm sure there's a Guitar Center, or I'm sure there's a ton of used guitar places. Good. Pawn shops, whatever it is, whatever it takes.
Now, I did actually buy a hard shell guitar case. I used to have a gig bag, but now I have a hard case for my acoustic guitar, the Hummingbird Pro, so I could check it. So we'll see. Either way,
you will see.
Almost sure that I'll have a guitar there. If we get any of those late nights where we all just sit around singing songs everybody knows, that is always a good time.
Yeah, Chandler says he's not going to make it to OCON this time. He says fear of missing out is going to hit him when it starts.
Oh,
I know.
Man.
Well, we're going to try to report from OCON at some point.
Yeah, well, we'll be there at least one Sunday, so we may end up doing this show. Probably decide that by next week when we do the final show before we leave.
Yes.
And either way, we will have video cameras and the ability to reach out to all you good people.
That's correct.
So the reason I mentioned what I was thinking about, what we were thinking about the news this weekend is Yaron's going to talk about it at the top of the hour. So I had to put our opinion out there first, so he doesn't scoop us. And because a lot of times he'll say stuff and I'll be like, I thought of that first, but he gets all the props. So just kidding, but not really. It's really funny how many times that's happened. But that's the reason why I call back to our episode on when the hero and the villain are the same, because we live in complicated times. There are people I know who are suspicious of these war actions. And I'm seeing a lot of people online who, as soon as they encounter a social media friend of theirs or another person on a forum who disagrees about the current bombing of Iran, immediately lashes out. In fact, Amy, you took criticism recently for something you said from somebody who, what did I say last week, who had no curiosity. It didn't even occur to him to ask, well, why do you think that? He jumped right to, oh, if you think that, you are bad, and here's what's bad, and here's what's right, and here's what you should think. No curiosity. No question of, oh, well, I don't think about that way. Why do you think that? Tell me about it. Explain.
Yeah, I'm not.
Explain yourself, but just share with me.
Yeah, I'm not ChatGPT. You can't just throw prompts at me. God.
Yeah.
Anyway, Anyway.
Sorry, just making sure things are still going here. It looked like I'd frozen up for a moment there.
Yeah, we'll have to brush up on our Bostonian dialect. And let's see, how to speak with a Boston accent. Focus on dropping the R sound at the end of words. Speaking quickly and pronouncing certain vowels differently. So pay attention to how the A sound is pronounced, especially when it's at the end of the word. So let's see here.
Well, of course, one of our friends in the chat is from Boston, so occasionally, he speaks now like a Midwesterner, but occasionally he will exaggerate that slight bit of Boston he's got in his voice, and we get to hear how, before he leaves for the evening, for example, he has to check his khakis. Khakis.
So things that end with an like an ER is like ending with an A. Or like park has the R sound, and it's like pak.
Pak.
And then you've got things like pizza, and it's not it's so pizza.
That one I don't know. But we'll work on it so that if we have to go buy anything, we'll be understood and not end up with keys to a car instead of a pair of khakis. So
anyway, I'll have to so this week, I will definitely brush up on this.
Yesterday, Rock and Roll Picnic, I happened to come across a quote from Brett Goldstein. Those of you who are Ted Lasso fans will know. Roy Kent. He was on Brené Brown's show. She did an interview with him. And here's what he said. Now, I'm going to give you a profanity alert, since I don't usually swear much on the show, but I'm quoting somebody who often does. And he says this. Now, think about this, not just in the context of if you were going to get on stage at a rock and roll picnic, do some karaoke or playing music. But think about this in the context of your social engagements. When you find your hackles raise and you start getting in fight mode, or you really want to judge somebody who you're not actually in a position to judge. Here's what Brett Goldstein says. The secret of the Muppets. I don't know if any of you all watched the Muppet Show, or you're just familiar with the Muppet characters. If you've watched the show, you'll know exactly what he's talking about. The secret of the Muppets is, well, they're not very good at what they do. Kermit's not a great host. Fozzie's not a great comedian. Miss Piggy's not a great singer. Like, none of them are actually good at it. But they fucking love it.
Yes.
And they're like a family, and they like putting on the show. And they have joy. And because of the joy, it doesn't matter that they're not good at it. And that's like what we all should be. Muppets. Unquote. Now, I know people who, again, hackles, short hairs on the back of their neck would be raised. Well, you don't believe in excellence? You don't think people should have pride? You don't think they should do their best? Not the point. Not at all the point. The question is, are you joyful no matter what you're doing and where you're at? Or are you waiting until you're perfect before you think you can actually have self-esteem or can actually really enjoy what you're doing? You know, there's nothing wrong and everything right with being ambitious, but are you enjoying the journey? Because I'll tell you this, in your life, there are only so many destinations, but there's a lot of journey. And does this apply to current events? Absolutely. So I want that for you. I want that graciousness.
Yes.
I
like the idea of being a Muppet. I'm kind of like that, actually, in real life.
Yes. You know, your life's going to have a mix of tragedies and celebrations, of
Yes.
good and bad, of hard times and easy times, tragedy and magnificence. And the only question is, how are you going to react to what happens to you? So follow the links to the episodes that I listed in there, especially the one on when the hero and the villain are the same guy, so that you can decide rationally and not with snap judgments how to indulge and enjoy and appreciate your values. Because a lot of people don't realize that most of the values in your life, the most important ones are other people.
Yes.
You know, there's that very hippy-dippy phrase, the best thing in life aren't things, I like things. I like a good guitar. I like a good guitar amplifier. I like a PA system that's really loud. I like good food. I like being able to throw the kind of picnic we threw yesterday, but would I have had any fun with that at all? Much less would it have made sense spending hours setting it all up if nobody had been there and it had just been me. We did it once where it was just me and Amy.
Yes.
Well, we didn't have the big rig.
Well, we had to cancel it for everybody else.
No, it's the people.
Yes.
And you deserve that. You deserve a big heaping helping of that.
Yeah, Chandler says the Rainbow Connection, the song, the Muppet
Rainbow
song.
You know, that's a dumb little song, and yet it is so sweet.
It's good.
It's so charming, and you've got to be willing to go there. But if you are, it's brilliant.
Yeah, he says it's about seeing the magic in being human, and even though the lyrics are kind of sus, I love the optimism of the song. Yeah, there's a lot of optimism in it. You know, we had a very special moment yesterday. You saw the picture of myself, my friend Lily, and my dear friend Echo. And we were singing Chiquitita by ABBA, which is one of my very favorite songs. And all of our song, I mean, it's just a favorite song. So we were all singing it, and we sounded really good, and it was really lovely. And there was just this spirit, this real magical sense of singing with each other, looking into each other's eyes while singing it. If you know the lyrics, you know what I'm talking about. And I was harmonizing in the lyrics, and it was really pretty, and I'm like, oh, this is really pretty. And it was just so lovely. So anyway, that was a very special Muppet magic moment from last night.
Yeah, it's one of those songs that's almost too much, and so you might think, oh, it's too poppy or it's goofy. If you can listen to that song and take it in earnest, it'll get you. It will get you.
It's very, very sweet.
If you've
lovely.
If you have lost that ability to take something like that in earnest, if the only thing you can enjoy at this point in your life is, you know, death metal or even hard rock, but something that is very real and earnest, sounds to you saccharine and fake, question that in yourself and consider opening up a little bit more. Yeah, that was very, very sweet when you sang that. Very, very sweet. And
yeah, so we've got a few more minutes left. Let's just
what's
look
going
at,
on in the chat there that I've missed?
So Stephen asked if we had seen the movie Yes Man, with Jim Carrey. Yes, we have. And
Did we see that?
We liked it. It was good. I don't remember everything about it, but I remember it was good.
I only vaguely remember it, but I realize now that wasn't the premise of that something about
saying yes to everything.
Saying yes to everything, which you would think I would remember that. I guess we have to watch it again.
Yeah,
because that's my philosophy of life.
Right. Well, between that and the Truman Show, those are, I think, probably my two favorite Jim Carrey movies.
Yeah. Well, we'll have to rewatch it. Thank you for mentioning that.
Yeah, there's another. I'm trying to find it. It was called The Materialist or something like that. A movie.
Yeah, that's a recent one.
No, we didn't see it. If it's recent, we probably haven't seen it.
No, I mean, I had the impression from the ads that it was kind of about the current dating scene and people who have people whose values are focused on wealth and attractiveness. And I have no problem with wealth, and I certainly have no problem with attractiveness, but it seemed like just superficial in the sense of missing important elements. But maybe that's the point of a film like that. Maybe by the time you get to the end of the film, you realize, well, I do want to be wealthy and I do want to be attractive, but I want a lot more than that. I want substance. I want the reasons why somebody's wealthy. I want the reasons why somebody is taking good care of themselves and has vitality. And but if it's just a film about, the trials and tribulations of the beautiful people, that's not really my bag, not really my thing.
Yeah, I don't know. Let us know what you think of what you thought of it. So, Objectivism: The Philosophy of Ayn Rand aka OPAR, that's the abbreviation for it, has been translated into Czech and possibly Hebrew. So there you are. Yeah, I guess we need more translations of OPAR. And let's see, what else? I just gotta say, Ayn Rand she's the best. I love her so very much. And I'm so happy that she decided to write about a philosophy and come up with one and untangle some philosophical ideas. Anyway, it was just...
You can always tell Chandler's unique way of approaching cultural events. He says,
well,
if this goes right, the TikToks coming out of Iran will be fire. I just thank you for that, because I would never in a million years have thought of that.
It's funny. I love the vernacular of millennial and Gen Zs.
I can't believe TikTok is still a thing.
Yeah, it is. I guess it is. I mean, I
didn't understand Twitter either. It's just short attention span theater until they opened it up beyond 144 characters.
I don't know. I don't know. I haven't been on it in a while.
Short attention span theater.
Yeah, it can be fun.
But you can say a lot in a short amount of time.
Yes.
And if you are a scroller type, you just sit there and scroll and watch one thing after another and not wanting things to connect or add up, if that is entertaining, then I guess TikTok can work. I kind of, I've where I've run into that, because I don't do much on TikTok. I have an account just so I can see things like my daughter's stuff, but Threads.
Right. Well, I don't know.
Facebook decided Reels weren't enough of an annoying short attention distraction. They've created a whole platform. If you go on Threads, you will see, some clever video and some clever post. And it's clever and it's amusing, but it has nothing to do with anything. And then you watch the next one and you're like, oh, another clever and amusing thing, but that I'm never going to connect to anything else. And there's only so much of that I can do. After you've watched 100 of them, you feel like, what's that wet? That's my brain oozing out of my ear onto my shirt, because I'm now brain dead. So, maybe an element of my age. Folks, unless there's anything else in the chat that we absolutely need to address.
Well, let's see here. Actually, this is interesting. Linda Cordair on Facebook says, if you like crime dramas, season 1 and 2 of Broadchurch are great. I'm assuming that's on BritBox, maybe.
Yeah, the last few British crime detective shows, murder mystery shows we've watched were disappointing.
Yeah.
But we'll have to try that one and see.
Yeah, thank you.
There's only a few of them that have the charm.
Yes.
Of the ones that we like.
Yes. We got through most of the Poirot with David Suchet, or Suchet, however you say his name. The more dramatic, hour and a half or hour and 45-minute long versions, I don't recommend. They
changed them from being episodes, and you would have 6 or 10 episodes in a series, which we call a season, to where they would be 3 or 4 episodes, and each one was a movie.
Yeah.
Not like a TV show. It was like a movie.
Yeah. First couple of seasons of Poirot with David Suchet is very good. I highly recommend it. But
the later ones, we're having a hard time getting through them, and we probably won't.
So there's something called Foyle's War on Prime.
Heard of it. Don't know anything about it. And, so if you're going to recommend things to us, they need to have at least some degree of charm, of sweetness. Yes. Not that everybody has to be charming, not that everybody has to be sweet, but there needs to be some element, something positive, where it's not just about grit and tension and anxiety or uncomfortableness, which for some reason people are really into that whole idea of cringe. It's got to have something positive too. A likable character, something positive.
Yes.
Which kind of ends up leading us into kind of goofy stuff sometimes. We like Father Brown, for example.
Oh, we love Father Brown. Or even...
the related ones, Sister Boniface, or the Canadian series Murdoch Mysteries. And I know a lot of people would say, well, those are kind of goofy. And yeah, but they're not just feeling like these are people I wouldn't want to know and circumstances I wouldn't want to be in. And
yeah. Chandler says every detective is flawed in these modern gritty crime dramas. It's tiring.
Well,
I agree.
I'm okay with that as long as they have some compensating traits.
Yeah, or
like, and you're right. The flaws can be. The worst thing is when they're flawed, and they make the character completely unaware of their flaw.
Yes.
Monk was the worst at that.
Yeah.
The television series Monk was great until it wasn't. It just got to the point where the character was not believable because he knew what his issues were, and then a season later he would totally forget them and act like a complete jerk with no self-awareness. And I get it. He's supposed to be this kind of aspy character, but they just ruined it by continually going back to the well and not letting the character grow even a little bit.
Yeah.
So, anyway,
it's
we're running late. We got to go.
We got to go.
Thank you for watching. We'll do the full outro next time. We will save you from that because we're going to go listen to Yarn Brook. You should do the same thing. Thank you for listening. Thank you for supporting the show in all the ways, like, share. In fact, I'll play the reel here and you will know what to do. And in the meantime, we wish you love.